recording as well. So we got a couple of backups. All right, so if you guys can hear me, give me a yes in the chat box just to let me know. Thank you, Jenny and Charlotte, and yeah, thank you guys. Awesome. All right, good. Several people saying yes. You guys, Andrew, Avel, awesome. Thank you guys. And then we've got, can you see my screen? Make sure that we see my screen. We don't want anyone not to be able to see that. Should say Instant Book SEO, 12 hours to rank #1. Okay, you see that? Yes, yes, excellent. Okay, good deal. I'm just making sure. Gotta make sure we're not having any tech problems. Hopefully it don't cut out. I know a couple times in the past in some of these I don't know, audio sometimes cuts out. Hopefully that does not happen, but usually if it does, the recording picks it up just fine, so you'll be able to watch it afterwards. So, you know, don't freak out. You probably won't miss anything. Just to let you know, just to pick up and watch the replay, which there is going to be one, just to answer that in case if any of you guys have to leave for any particular reason. I hope not, but if you do, because you've got to eat or you've got kids to take care of or you've got whatever you need to do, that's fine. There will be a recording. Amy will be sending that out so graciously shortly after we are done and it's all processed. So what we're going to talk about tonight is Instant Book SEO, 12 hours to rank #1. I got that. I didn't just pull that out of my rear, okay? I actually got that from a case study that one of my clients was successful in. Once I shared some of this information with them, they literally made the changes to their book and they didn't do anything else, and then they ended up getting that nice little orange bestseller sticker. You guys know what I'm talking about? If you're in Amazon and you have a book, and it doesn't matter whether it's CreateSpace or whether it's Kindle, it's the little orange tag. You guys know what I'm talking about. Give me a yes if you know what I'm talking about, the little orange tag that says bestseller. I have to ask everyone to, okay, good, yes. John, I was going to say, and yes, Wendy, thank you, awesome, good deal. Yes, I want one. Excellent, yeah, everyone wants one, right? We all want that bestseller tag, and it looks great. It's not just there for giggles. It's there because you really are the top ranking book. Now, what's funny about Amazon is Amazon can be a little shady about some of their things. In our experimentations, we found that it is really easy to get the bestseller tag, even if you're not ranking #1 in your categories. Now, that might seem like a bit of a shock. What your #1 ranking is in relevant keyword-related search terms in the results that are coming back from Amazon when you go into the search box and say you search how to train your dog. So what's happening is you're ranking high enough in there that Amazon's saying, hey, you're a #1 bestseller, and you are making additional sales, of course, but you're making enough sales that you're actually outranking the other books compared to in the search terms, and so you come up with that bestseller tag. Well, and as I said, it's a little bit sneaky of Amazon because Amazon only hands that out if you are outranking your competitors in the search engine results. And that's interesting because most people think they get that bestseller tag by outranking everybody in their categories. And while I have seen a few of that happen, they both coincide with each other. More often than not, you're getting that because you're outranking and outselling your competitors in the search results. Now, Amazon is one giant search engine, and I think that a lot of authors kind of know that, but they don't really apply it. Or if they apply it, they kind of generally apply it. They think, well, you know, my book is about dogs, and so I'm going to put dogs in the title somewhere, and then I will hopefully rank for dogs, and as I rank for dogs, I will get traffic coming in, and I will make sales. Unfortunately, as the way it is with life, it's never really that easy, unfortunately. So what we're going to talk about in tonight's presentation is how you can actually capture the first page, hopefully the first spot in the search engine results for a relevant and high value keyword. Those are the two differences right there that what most authors tend to neglect. They just pick a keyword that's relevant, but they forget about the high value aspect of it. And then there's more than just high value as far as the keyword's traffic volume is concerned. And we'll talk all about that here in just a minute, but that's really what you're trying to aim for and what we're going to do. So let us go ahead and dive in. All right, so most authors fail to rank, and that's what I mean by failing is that you're either picking poor keywords or you're not ranking anywhere near where you should be for the keywords that you desire. And a lot of old information exists from back in 2011, 12, 13, even as recent as 14 and 15, where really all you had to do is add some keywords to your title and description. But we've been finding out, and I can tell you about how I get this information, I've been finding out through a lot of work with a lot of clients that this is just no longer the case. It is no longer as simple as adding your title and the keyword in your title and in your description. It now comes down to, well, I'll tell you in a minute. It's no longer about the same keyword everyone is fighting for. Okay, this is something that affects primarily fiction authors, or maybe authors who are working in not nonfiction categories. So, for example, this would be anyone who has a romance novel or a fantasy novel or sci-fi. They tend to all gather around a small subset of keywords, and there's a problem with that, and that's primarily that as far as relevance goes. You're not very relevant, and you're all trying to fight for the same exact spot. So we need to get a little more specific. And the more specific you get, generally the higher conversions you're going to get, because the traffic that you're aiming for is perfectly attuned for your book. And we're going to explain some of that here in a moment. But a lot of people are fighting for the same keywords. Again, they're thinking, well, my book is about dystopia, post-apocalyptic. Well, that's great. So, you and 5,000, probably more like 50,000 other books are competing for that exact same keyword space. It's poor strategy. For nonfiction people, well, that's what I talked about earlier, dogs, right? Say, for instance. It's not about the keywords that everyone's fighting for. You want to get away from that. And we want to talk about how you get away from that and why it's important to do that here in just a minute. But what 80% of authors have in common is zero book sales, and what generally is the reason that is because 80% of the book authors have in common, what do they do that are in common is the exact same thing. All right, what do? You write a book, you upload it to Amazon, you pick keywords that you think are relevant, you pick categories that you think are relevant, and you hope and pray that it all works. And what happens? It doesn't, right? Because that 80% of what everyone is doing, including 80% of you guys that are sitting on that call, on this call tonight, is doing the exact same thing, and we need to change that. And what's funny is once you make this change, it really is an 80-20 sort of deal. Is once you make this change, you're going to see this 20% little change is going to give you an 80% return in results simply because of the changes you're making. And what's funny is almost every single author I've had do this, I'm not even joking, probably 80 to 90% of the authors that I've had make these changes for their books, they've turned around and you literally 12 to 24 hours later have told me, I made the change, oh my God, I am now ranking #1 for this keyword, and I'm getting traffic and I'm getting sales where I wasn't before. And the reason that is again, is because we're differentiating ourselves in several different ways. Now, I didn't put a slide in here, but before I dive into about the actual mistakes and kind of how to differentiate yourself, I want to answer the question, well, how do you know this? Obviously, you know it works because you're talking about clients, but how did you discover this? Well, a lot of you guys are very well aware, and some of you are even probably members, that I have a service, Killer Book Promotions, and inside of that service, I've been working with a lot of authors to promote their books. And we've had some successes, some failures, some meh, it's kind of the way it goes in life. But one thing that I've noticed, and when working with a lot of these authors, is that they don't do their keywords, they don't do their titles, they don't do their categories, and they don't do their description, and they don't do their book, they don't do it properly. And neglecting or forgetting about the fact of the book's quality. We're not even talking about book quality. Let's just talk about on-page Amazon quality. And this doesn't matter if you're doing a coloring book, if you're doing a puzzle book, if you're doing a journal, if you're doing a fiction book, if you're doing a nonfiction book. It doesn't matter. The fact is that 80%, again, 80% of what I'm seeing out there is awful. And there's no wonder why books aren't sticking after promotions. It's no wonder why books aren't selling. It's because at least from the SEO perspective, there's no reason for it to be. Amazon has no reason for it to find your book relevant to your keywords because you're misplacing your keywords. You're picking the wrong type of keywords. And so after working with 150 authors, with each author probably averaging 5 books apiece, we're talking about 500 to 600 books. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that this is the number one problem that authors are having, is that they are misappropriating and mischoosing and mispicking and just totally screwing up everything on the page. So that's what we're going to fix, okay? So, mistake number one, using the same broad keyword as everyone else. Your book is about dystopia. You want to rank for dystopia? You pick dystopia. Well, guess what? As I said, 50,000 other books are also trying to do that. And it's just simply not working because, well, if you've got 50,000 books, then to Amazon, it's all the same. I'm looking at these 50,000 books, and they all have dystopia in the title. Well, obviously, they're all dystopia, but I'm going to rank you on other factors. I'm going to rank you on sales. I'm going to rank you on publishing time. I'm going to rank you on reviews. I'm going to rank you on other things, which is interesting because if you search in Amazon, you're going to notice that the default search results are relevance. It's not based on sales. It's not based on reviews. It's based on relevance. That's the default. Now, you can change that, of course, and people frequently do based on price or what's selling, high to low, that sort of thing. But generally speaking, most people, your buyers, your readers, aren't doing that. They're typing into Amazon what exactly they are looking for, and the things that are popping up, they figure that's exactly what they're looking for. And they're only clicking maybe past the first page. They might be clicking on page 2, maybe page 3. Depends on how desperate they are for whatever it is they're looking for. But for fiction, they're probably going to be just picking something they see on the first page. So what you have to do is you have to use the most detailed keyword that describes your book that also has decent traffic numbers and a high potential value. And I'm going to show you guys how to get this. I am going to show you how to get this, but you need to take these 3 traits in mind. It can't just be about dystopia anymore. It has to be dystopia romance. It has to be a dystopian horror. It has to be your precise genre, and that's what it needs to be. Now, yes, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to cut out maybe 50% of your traffic. Yes, you will do that. You will lose 50% of your traffic. But on the flip side of that, you're going to gain in more than 50% of a conversion rate, because people that are looking exactly for dystopian romance are going to find your book if you're ranking number 1 for dystopian romance. If you're ranking number 1 for it, you're going to see an increase in conversions. Your specificity, I don't know how you pronounce it. Specific. The more specific you are with your keywords, the better off you're going to be in making sales, because the people who are looking for dystopian romance, and you have it in your title, we're going to talk about that here in a second, they're going to look at it, and you're ranked number 1, and they're going to see you right in the title that that's what you are. They're going to click on your page, and they're going to go to it, and they're going to look at the description, and they're going to look at the title, or excuse me, the cover, they're going to read the preview, they're going to look at the reviews, but you have at least grabbed their attention, and so you should see an increase in conversions, even though you have lost some traffic. Now, there is a way that, of course, you can get ranked for the general dystopia category, and that way of doing that is by making more sales. And one advantage you have as a fiction author is you've got the organic traffic inside Amazon to support such things. And this is something that I am going to talk about here in a little bit, is the fiction versus nonfiction problem and what Amazon is capable of supporting organically, okay? And I've got some disheartening news and maybe some heartening news, however you want to look at it, but there is a thing with Amazon that you need to pay attention to, and that is whether you're fiction or nonfiction and where you get your traffic from. But we're going to talk more about that in a minute. But let's talk about mistake number 2. Putting the keywords in the back of the title and description. You guys know what I'm talking about. You have the title of your book. Your title of the book is The End of the World. I'm just pulling something on my rear. The End of the World, dystopian novel. Okay, so the keyword you're trying to rank for is dystopia or dystopian. And you put it in your title because that's what every guide out there is saying. Well, I put it in my title. Well, I'm telling you right now, what you just did was a mistake. What you just did is a mistake, because everybody is putting their title like that. Everyone's doing it like that. Amazon is doing this thing now where they're more and more considering the placement of your keyword as relevant. Where you place your keyword is far more important than what keywords, or where the keyword is than the keyword itself almost. If you place the most important keyword that you're going after as front and center of your title, front and center of your description, and even front and center even inside of your book, you're going to find that you're going to rank for the relevance category a lot higher. Okay? And this is actually part of the course for general SEO. If any of you guys know anything about general SEO, the relevance, content relevance is starting to play a much larger factor. It and social signals have over the years begun playing a much larger role in it. And all of the search engines now, including Amazon, is putting importance on where the keywords fall in your content and how many keywords you have. If they think you're stuffing your keywords, they're just going to automatically disqualify you and drop you off. But if they really think that you really are dystopian romance and you have it in the title and you have it in the description and you have it in the book, you're going to rank, okay? So, as I said, description and in-book keywords. Yes, Amazon does read your book. They do know if you have your keyword in your book. And there's ways that you can put it in there. One way is having a prologue or an introduction or some sort of preamble of sorts where you right up at the very top you can put your keyword in there. And there's ways that you can do this. It does require a little finesse and a little bit of thought, but once you do it, it is valuable to do because guess what? A lot of authors are not putting their keywords in book. Now, can be complicated to do, especially with a novel. Again, this goes back to the fiction versus nonfiction thing. If you're writing fiction, you're not going to sprinkle in dystopian romance everywhere in the book. Now, if your book is about how to train dogs, you might put in there dog training, how to train dogs, and all the sort of relevant keywords, and you might be able to sprinkle it in the content. But as a fiction author, that's going to not make any sense to do. So what you have to do is you have to have a preamble or an introduction or a letter from the editor or from a reviewer or whatever. Put your reviews, and actually that's something that you can do. If you get editorial reviews, and these are reviews that Amazon do not own, we're talking about the editorials that you get, which you should be getting editorial reviews. Put your editorial reviews up top, right in the very beginning of your book, and make sure they say things like dystopian romance in them. And so when Amazon scans your page, they will see it. Okay, so that's something that you guys should be doing. Mistake number 3, again, comes back sort of to number 1, and that's picking the wrong keywords. Again, I've already covered the same keyword as everyone else, but most authors, if you even decide to step out of the realm of Amazon and do a little bit of keyword research, ooh, scary, I know, right? Who wants to go and do market research? It's not very fun, I will admit, but it is something you should be doing because if you don't do it, you're going to suffer. And not only are you going to suffer, but if you decide to do it, and most authors that do decide to do it are going to pick this right here, based on traffic volume, you're going to suffer because it's not about traffic volume. There's one thing I want you guys to take away from tonight, and that is this. It is not about traffic volume. This is scary because I know for a lot of people, traffic volume means success, and that is probably the biggest load of BS that if you ever hear anyone tell you, you want to go after the highest traffic keywords, you want to go after the highest traffic niched, whatever. Hey, that's, that sounds great because you're like, well, if I can get 50,000 people coming to my book a day, well, it doesn't matter if 50,000 people come to your book every single day if none of them buy. In fact, that's actually going to hurt you, and I wasn't planning on talking about this, but this is a little secret that I want to kind of drop in here. The lower your conversion rate is, the more traffic you send, but the lower your conversion rate, meaning the lower people will buy, the faster your rank's going to drop. And by drop, I'm not mean drop towards the top like the number 1, I mean drop towards like 5,336,452. That's what I mean by saying drop in this context. The more traffic you send to your book that is irrelevant and does not convert, the more likely your book will drop in rank. And as it drops in rank, less organic traffic from Amazon you will get. And it will only cause you further stress because your book just simply won't succeed. And that's something that not a lot of people talk about, but conversion rate does actually make a difference. And as I said, I've discovered this by working with like 500 different books the past 2 months. I mean, we've seen so much, we've done so much testing, and we've seen so much that I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that conversion rate makes a difference. So in fact, not only picking high traffic volume keywords are terrible, the chances are they're killing you. So picking dystopia, even if you rank, and if it's not precisely dystopia, if it's not precise, if your book say just some humorous, post-apocalyptic humorous dystopian romance doesn't really fit in pure dystopia, you're actually screwing yourself over. You're dropping your rank and you're not making any sales because you're going to stop traffic. Traffic's just going to dry up. Any traffic that you are getting from outside sources is just going to further plummet you down the rankings in Amazon. And what's going to happen is Amazon's not going to send you any traffic. And Amazon has the hottest book buyers that you want. You want those book buyers on your page from Amazon because they're there, they're ready and willing to purchase. And so they are the most important traffic source that you can get. Okay, so if the one big thing that I want you guys all to take away from tonight is do not base your keywords on traffic volume alone. That is the largest and biggest mistake you can make. You need to pick your keyword based on potential value. That is the amount of potential money you can make on the keyword. And I'm going to show you how you can find that. It's not difficult. In fact, this is probably one of my biggest secrets, and it's something that, well, not really a secret. I've kind of shared on and off again. But for some odd reason, people don't like listening to me, and they don't like, I don't know, maybe people just don't like making money. I don't know. Do you guys want to make money? I hope you want to make money, because if you want to make money, I highly advise you to listen. It was really funny. This is a little side story. Richard, again, I've talked about Richard a little bit. He's a great client of mine. He's got great books. And I've been telling him some of this stuff, and every time I tell him something, he comes back to me, and he's like, Rob, you know that thing you just told me? Yeah, I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I just made $75 on it. I wasn't doing this before. I actually think I'm going to make money every month by doing this. And I'm like, well, I tell people to do it all the time. I don't know why nobody listens. He's like, I don't know why nobody listens either. What did I tell him to do? Use your Amazon affiliate link every time you promote your book. You not only get statistics, which he said, by the way, Rob, I'm now discovering that I'm screwing over some of my books. I'm like, well, you got statistics. Now, obviously, that is an iffy situation as far as which state you're in, whether or not you can use your Amazon affiliate links, simply because some states, the whole sales tax nexus, if you're in one of those states that you cannot do that, I am terribly sorry. Try to find a way around that, like, for example, registering a P.O. box in another state and opening up your LLC or your partnership or whatever into another state so that you can actually use that as a tax nexus. I'm not a tax attorney. Don't talk to me about that. But find a way to do it, because I tell you what, if you can use your Amazon affiliate link for nothing other than tracking stats, then do it. Now, not only that, but you're also going to make extra money, because people that go there, they buy a book, they buy your book, they buy any book. They're also going to turn around and buy maybe a $1,000 piece of jewelry. Suddenly you're getting a 7.5% commission on that, and you've now made $75. Right? So that's the kind of stuff that we're doing. So Richard, because I told him to go and do it, he made an extra $75. Not on books. He made it on some other sales. And he's getting traffic stats. So listen to what I'm saying here. You want to pick the keyword, going back to actually what we're talking about, pick the keyword based on the potential value that it is, not on the potential traffic. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. All right, and failing to realize the difference between fiction and nonfiction keywords. Now, for most of you guys, a lot of you authors I know have both books. I know some have fiction, some have nonfiction, and some have both. This applies more, I'd say, directly to you guys, you specific subset who have both types of books, than the fiction and nonfiction authors that are exclusive. If you're a nonfiction author exclusive, or you're exclusively a fiction author, this isn't going to apply to you a whole lot, but it is important to pay attention. Fiction, especially you guys, when we go and look at this, you fiction authors, okay, so don't freak. All right, I don't want any of you guys to freak out when we go look at this. Fiction keywords look dead in keyword tools in Bing and Google. I know a lot of keyword tools exist. We're going to show you one here in a little bit. I'm not going to lie. But in the keyword tools and in Bing and Google, they're going to look dead. You're going to look like you're not going to get any traffic. It's going to look like there's nobody does anything. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because if you're looking for dystopian romance on Google, you're doing it wrong. Right? If you're a buyer, if you're looking for dystopian romance, where are you going to go? You're not going to search Google. Well, I don't know, maybe you would, but for the most part, most people are not going to search Google. They're going to hop on over to Amazon, or they're going to hop on over to, iBookstore, or the Nook, or, Barnes & Noble, or whatever. They're going to do that. All right? That's what they're going to do. And they're going to search in there, because that's what you're going to do is for fiction. You're not going to search fiction in Google and Amazon unless you have, or Bing, unless you have specific keywords that you're looking for that has to do with it. So, for example, highest rated fiction novel about, or highest rated romance, whatever, right? Or reviews of 50 Shades Grey, or whatever, those type of keywords, that's a little different. But for your genre-specific keywords like dystopian romance, you're not going to search Google. So traffic numbers are going to look dead. That's okay, though, because you can still get a general judge of what's going on with the traffic, what's going on with the sales. It's not terribly accurate, but again, you know, it is what it is. But it is something to keep in mind when you're doing this research. Next, nonfiction keywords. The opposite is true. The exact opposite is true. So with nonfiction keywords, if you try to look for how to train a dog, you're going to see that your traffic's huge. It looks like you're going to make millions of dollars on your book. You upload a how to dog training manual on Amazon and bam, you're going to be selling. You're going to make all this money. It's going to be thousands and thousands of dollars a day. And that's just not true. Again, the opposite is actually true. Amazon has far less nonfiction traffic than it has fiction traffic, and that's just the long and short of it. In fact, I'm going to drop another little nugget on here. If you guys are nonfiction authors and you're really wondering why your book isn't selling, if you're really wondering, if you're going, Rob, I tell you what, I've done all of this. All right, I've paid attention, I've studied this myself, I've done it all, I'm still not selling. And I'm going to tell you why you're still not selling. It's because there just isn't any organic traffic in your niche. You're going to have to go, and this is the bad news I was kind of saying. If you're not getting any sales organically and you've done your homework and you're ranking and you're in there and you're just not making sales, chances are it has to do with the fact that there is no organic traffic available for your book. That means that you're going to have to pursue traffic avenues outside of Amazon. It's unfortunate, but it's just the simple truth of it. And I know that as nonfiction authors, that's probably the most dreaded thing you could hear. But the thing is as I said, after working with 600 books, 60 to 70% of them being nonfiction, I'm beginning to discover that there is a definitive problem with nonfiction books, and that is it's just there's not enough. There's traffic for nonfiction books. Don't get me wrong. There is traffic there, but there is the Amazon marketplace is so diluted with nonfiction books that there's just not enough of it to spread around. Unlike fiction, which fiction has, I don't know, probably hundreds of times more traffic than nonfiction. The thing about fiction, though, is it's a mass consumable market, right? These people, you know, and then they just don't buy one romance book and then suddenly they're like, well, I got my romance fixed for my entire life. I'm never going to read another romance book. No, unlike, you know, a dog training or how to get your ex back or you know, how to be better business or how to learn how to program, you consume a few books and then you're finished. You've learned what you can from those books and maybe you'll buy another one or two, but it's really not a mass consumable market. There's the market cap as far as what each individual buyer is much, much lower. And so while Amazon does have probably millions of nonfiction buyers every day, the fact of the matter is it's so saturated and their buying cap, their value cap is so much lower because they don't go around buying every book available. They go on a binge, they buy 10 books and then they're done, unlike romance or sci-fi or something where people will continue, if they're readers, they will continue to buy their entire life. So that's the difference. Okay, and it's something that you need to keep in mind, and it is something that I wanted to talk about because as I begin to discover this, I want to get the message out that nonfiction authors need to do more. You need to begin looking for avenues outside of Amazon. All right, so keep these things in mind when you are doing research, okay? So the rules to follow, let's go over these again. Place your keywords front and center. So here's an example. Instead of saying the end of days, dystopia series 1 and then dystopian, you would go dystopian romance, the end of days, dystopian series 1, right there, front and center. Okay? How to train your dog, right there, front and center, the ultimate dog training guide. Weight loss for 50 or older, the beast weight loss method. So as you can see, my keywords are front and center. Now, these keywords make sense. You know, if you're looking at your research and you're going, whoa, man, this keyword, it looks freaking awesome. You know, but it like doesn't make sense. It's terribly misspelled. The grammar's so atrocious that people will laugh at it if it's in your title. That could be a potential problem. Okay. The number one rule to always follow is to make sure that, you know, from a grammar and a spelling and a does it make sense, relevance kind of thing, that's got to be your number one guide. So weight loss for 50 or older is fine because it almost sounds like it could be a title. And then the beast weight loss method. So, I mean, that's kind of how you want to go about doing it. And again, the same thing for your descriptions. You know, right there at the very beginning of your description, a dystopian romance novel that will move and shake you. I don't know. That's the best I could come up with in like a 2-minute time period. But then, of course, you have the rest of your description. You know, how to train your dog, the ultimate methods to ending bad behavior. That has been hailed. I don't know what I was going with there. But anyway, my point being, again, that you want to have your keyword in the very beginning of your description. Weight loss for 50 or older, the best method for weight loss for your golden years or in your golden years or something like that. Again, if it makes sense, it's got to make sense. Grammar, it's got to make sense relevance-wise. But all of these look fine, and whenever people are reading it, it looks fine. You want to make sure that it makes sense for both the readers and the Amazon bots that are scanning your page. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to switch over to, first I'm going to quit my Skype. I actually meant to do that. So this doesn't pop up and be annoying. So here we go. I'm going to show you guys this. This is a first example now. Here we're looking at the how to sell on eBay, and might be look a little familiar what I've talked about. His book was one of the books that I had, and he was nowhere to be found. Absolutely nowhere to be found. And this is probably the best keyword for him, and I'm not going to give you guys that data because I don't want to share too much of his niche. But I'm going to tell you right now, this was a huge keyword for him. And as you can see, nobody, except for here, right here. But basically, nobody had actually put that exact, here's another one, but nobody had really put that in there. Now, his was the best cover. He's done all sorts of stuff, all right? He's done all sorts of stuff, basically following what I'm telling you guys. All right, so let's look at a fiction version. Here is dystopian romance, and here's the very first one, and if you can see, cost of survival, dystopian romance, but I'm going to scan through here. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing a potential golden opportunity for those of you guys who have a dystopian romance book, because there is one that has it in the title. Again, we're sorting by relevance, and that's the default. This is the only one with it in the title, and it's not in the first, not in the front. And I believe I did this earlier. I scanned through here. And I'm looking, and I'm looking, and nope, and I'm looking, and I'm looking again, yeah, in the back, yeah, well, there's one romance, but no dystopia. Yeah, so here's a big hint for you guys who might have a book in this category. It's wide open. Go take it, all right? All you probably have to do is make a couple changes that takes no more than 5 to 10 minutes. All right. So I just wanted to show you guys these because this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Like you just quickly search and you can see that, you know, the authors just aren't doing this. They're just not, for both nonfiction and fiction. So this is something that you definitely need to focus on. All right. So let's move back to our little slides. Oops, I hate how it does that. I wish it didn't do that. Swap. No. Get back to where we were. Okay, yes, this is what we're moving into. So, finding great keywords. Oh, Amy, you there?
I'm here. Yeah, that was great. Some great examples there. And I have the same problem when I get in and out of PowerPoint. So. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It seems to reset, and I don't know why it's annoying. Anyway, I heard you pop on. I didn't know if you had something you wanted to add or not. But anyway.
Well, I know a few people were asking for the slides, so maybe we can make them available on when we have the replay.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Make those available. I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, that is absolutely no problem.
Great.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll make the slides available. All right, so the next question is, all right, well, that's all great. I know kind of how I need to do my keywords. I need to know how I need to redo my page. How do I find said great keywords? Well, again, we're looking at value before traffic. And value is estimated based on high, mid, low, average values. You want to have a couple of these. You want to have 3, a high, a mid, and a low. And I'll show you how to get these. just again, I want you to remember that fiction is underreported, nonfiction is overreported, okay, when you get estimates for Amazon. Unfortunately, Amazon does not provide us with traffic data, and I really wish they did. There are ways you can kind of sort of get traffic values if you're willing to get an Amazon ads account, which, by the way, especially for you nonfiction folk, here I'm going to drop another big ol' hint. Amazon ads for nonfiction is wide open. Wide open. I'm going to tell you right now, I know a couple authors that are absolutely cleaning up in their nonfiction niches with Amazon ads. And they're spending, let's see, every dollar they spend, they get about 25 bucks back out. So just drop that little hint in there. Okay, so remember, fiction is underreported, nonfiction is overreported. Oh, yes, where I was actually going with that. You can kind of sort of get with an Amazon ads account. So even one of the reasons I dropped this hint is I really would love for all of you to go in and spend just a couple of dollars just trying to figure this out. If you really want to know how much traffic your keywords are getting, take $5, and this is your targeted keyword. Obviously, you'd want to find the keyword first, and you would target that keyword for your book. You would then spend like $5 on a campaign. Just target just that keyword. Make sure all $5 goes into it, and look and see how many impressions you get. All right. Now, you may not make any sales, or you might make sales, or you might not. But that $5 will let you know. Be like, wow, there is like 30,000 unique people searching for this in a day, or there's 5 people searching within a day. Of course, it all depends on bids and stuff like that, but the fact is if you own the keyword, you can really get a good judge of how much it is. So you can bid a little higher, maybe 20 cents a click, and you might get a few clicks, but the point is you're wanting to find the impressions, and that's good data to have if you're wanting to really try to validate how much traffic is available. So if you have a nonfiction book that isn't selling and you're suspicious that this is the problem, that you don't have any traffic, open up an ads account. And it's, I think, free to do that. You just have to enter in a credit card and just set up a quick campaign, pick that book, write up some quick little copy, bid about 20 cents, spend $5, shut it off the day after. You shut it down so you don't just, blow through your bank, and see how much traffic impressions that you're getting. And if you're getting, that $5, I'm going to tell you right there, that can tell you something. So if you're getting 30,000 impressions for a couple specific keywords, you're going to know that that traffic is there and available, just somehow you're not tapping into it. Or if the traffic is, there's 30,000 people searching for that keyword, but then you go in and you go into Amazon and the search results and you see that there's 2,500, 3,500 books, 5,000 books, you're going to know that a lot of that traffic is being funneled between all of those books. It's valuable data to have. And I think one thing as authors, you guys need to remember is that data is in vital importance for you selling. If you want to sell, you need your data. And if you can't get any data, then you're not going to sell. You're just kind of pissing into the wind and hoping it doesn't blow back on you. That's a terrible analogy. You're literally throwing crap against the wall and hoping that it sticks. And you don't want to do that. You want to get some data, and then you can put that data in hand. You can go fix stuff. Okay. So anyway, so we got to use a math formula, and it's not complicated math. Don't freak out on me. Traffic volume times cost per click divided by 2, 4, and 8. Separately. So, and I'll give you an example of this here in just a moment. But each division gives you a high, mid, and low estimates of the monthly value that keyword has. So say you go to Google, you go to Bing, you look for a keyword, you find a keyword for your book. What are you going to do? You're going to look at it, and you're going to get an estimate of a monthly value. Okay. So to kind of get an estimate for the niche value, if you're not in the niche yet and you're wanting to say, hey, I'm wanting to get into the niche, just take like a handful of keywords, maybe 10, do all of that, and then add them all up. Add the values up for them. And these are dollar values. And then you'll kind of have an idea of what the general thing is. Just keep in mind that fiction is underreported and nonfiction is overreported. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at it, that you're not going to make millions of dollars if you're a nonfiction, okay? That tends to be what people have, and they get a bit excited. All right, so let's take a look at manual research. So let's quickly just do this. I'm going to, okay, there we go. And hopefully it'll come back. So I'm in Bing. I'm just in Bing ads. I'm in my little preview account here. And what we're going to do is we're going to get search volume data and trends, or you can use search for new keywords using a phrase, website, or category. What we're going to search for is, I'm going to search for we're going to sell on Amazon. Let's just pretend that we have a book about Amazon, selling on Amazon, okay? And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave all the targeting just fine, and I'm going to hit Get Suggestions. Now, you probably notice, well, I'm at Bing. And you're probably going, wow, well, why are you at Bing? Well, I'll explain that here in a moment. So what you're going to notice is you're going to get Add Group Suggestions. They're going to suggest it. That's not what you want. You want to click Add Keyword Suggestions. And so, obviously, here's what this is telling. Sell on Amazon is 6,470. Let me pull out a calculator here, an old trusty calculator. And what we're going to do is we're going to use our little math formula. We're going to take 6,470. We're going to multiply it by our suggested bid of 70 cents. That's your CPC. So this is the if you were to capture all of that traffic and you were to somehow magically turn it into money, this would be $4,529. But that's not really an accurate representation, because obviously you're not going to capture all that traffic and not everyone's going to convert, and they always suggest a bid high. So what are we going to do? To get our high possible value for this keyword, we're going to divide this by 2. Now we're getting 2,264. So if you were to capture all of that traffic and you were to direct all 6,000 of those people to your site, which directs people to your book to purchase it, if you were to monetize it all correctly, you would make at most $2,264 a month. At most. Now remember, this is nonfiction, so we are overestimating here. It probably would be a good idea not to take that for what it is. So let's divide it by 2 again, or what we're really doing is we're taking the first value and we're dividing it by 4. Now we're getting 1,132. This is our midline. This is what I consider called the midline guess. This is where you should, if you were to capture a relative close related amount of keywords, sell on Amazon, you should make about $1,000 a month. Remember, again, we get overestimates instead of under. It'll probably be realistically lower than that. So let's go ahead and do what our low value is, which is dividing again by 2, which is, as I said, if you're following the math, that would be dividing by 8. With the original number, 566.12 cents. So what it's basically saying is that if you were to capture all of this traffic, you would make $566. Again, that's probably a little on the high side for nonfiction. That's how the formula goes. So you can look, and again, what we want to do is we want to find potential keywords that would fit for our book. And, you know, sell books on Amazon might not be a best searching keyword, but I kind of want to go through here and, you know, I would kind of look and see where maybe, you know, keywords that would be potentially relevant. Before I move on really fast, if you want to do the same thing with Google, forget it. Google is now, Google's right now, we're going into, that's the wrong button. I wanted tools. Their keyword planner. Let me show you how nasty Google is right now. Google, I'm not a fan of Google anymore. Google used to be the go-to keyword planner for just really about anything. Let's type in sell on Amazon for this, and let's see what they tell us. Oh, look. 10,000 to 100,000. Anywhere in between there. In short, they're not giving us the data, and they won't anymore. Not unless you give Google money. If you want to get accurate keyword data with Google, you now have to give them money. You have to set up an ad campaign and you have to run ads. Otherwise, they will no longer give you accurate data, which means that Google is out. Google is done. It's finished. Any keyword tool based on Google will now give you inaccurate information. And that's just kind of the way those chips fall. And right now, the SEO world, and everyone who does SEO, keyword-based SEO right now, the whole world's falling to pieces because Google is no longer providing this information. So Bing is where I go. Now, Bing has a lot less traffic than Amazon. But again, we're not really caring a whole lot about traffic. What we're ultimately caring about was that number that I just showed you guys, right? That's kind of what we're kind of going for here is that. So let's there's a continue. Where is the stupid continue button? View and slideshow. Here's what I'm wanting. I'm wanting from current slide. Okay. So right. So that's sort of the hard way. Now there's other things that you need to do. All right, say that, let's just say for an instance that we want to use that keyword. Well, now we need to see if it's all right for us, if we can rank easy inside of Amazon. So what do? Well, I'm just going to quickly describe it because I don't want this to take forever, but you're going to you hop on over to Amazon, you enter in that keyword, and you look at the results for the first several pages. And you sit there and you go, okay, is this keyword in the front page? And you look at every book. And then you click on those books and you go look in the description. And then you try to read their book if you can look through it, and you can see if it's in there. Okay, and so that's kind of how you have to do it. And once you find that, for the first page or two that it's not there, that it's perfect, and it's there's nobody doing that, well then great, you got a winner. And if you find not, well then you got to go back and you got to do it. Now what happens if you don't know where to start? Well, you don't know where to get your keywords, or maybe you don't have a clue. Well, you can use Amazon and Google's auto suggest, where you start typing into a keyword and it pops down some suggestions. You could totally do that, and that's a great way to start as well. The thing about all of this is a hard way. Now, it is very, very valuable to do, but it's very time consuming. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you want to do this the manual way, and you want to do it to where your book sells, you better go spend a few hours staring at a screen and digging. Okay, if you want to make it worth anything, if you really, really, really want to work on getting your books to sell, you better put the time in to do it, because research will make all the difference in the world. As I said, data, data, data. You need data. You need to know what's going on with your books. You need to know what's going on with these niches, markets, and the keywords. All right, so it is super valuable to do, though, and that's where my little tool comes in. And now we're going to talk about the tool, and these are some of the case studies of people who have used my tool, and I'm going to show you guys a live demo here in just a second, but I wanted to highlight these. So this here, Terry and Dave, great, they're great clients. They used the software, put their book on a promotion, got #1 in 15 minutes in short reads teens, ended up getting bestseller. If you look over here, used the software, made the changes, guess what? I'm now #1, but not just one, but 2 of their keywords. And he's talking about the competition tracker, which I'm going to mention here in a little bit. Another author ended up finding a Facebook group. Again, I'm going to talk about that feature in a minute. Sold over 100 copies of his book. It was an erotic book, but he ended up selling over 100 copies. So case studies, awesome, right? So let's go ahead and let's fire up said tool.
Hey everybody, this is Rob, and I'm super excited to show you one of the most powerful niche and genre research tools available for books right now, and it's a project that I've been working on. I've had my hands directly on, and I've been working on for a while now, and I'm ready to show you guys. I'm needing to take in some more people to help me test, and I'm really super excited because one of the things that this thing does is absolutely incredible, and I'll save that for in just a minute, but I do want to let you know that what I'm about to show you is a development version only, okay? So this is still in development. A lot of the features I'm going to demonstrate for you here in the next couple of minutes are not available to the general public just yet, but they're on their way to become available. You're going to be getting this stuff soon, as you can see on this page. But I do want to show you it because I think that you're absolutely going to love it, especially with some of the results that people have been getting. So let's go ahead and let's dive in. So when you first open it up, this is what it's going to look like. Now, this is just a few of the modules that we have, that we're going to have. We're going to have a lot more available, several more available. But this is something, this keyword tool, it's not really a keyword tool. Actually, I keep calling it that, like, to my team, but it's not really a keyword tool anymore. It's a complete suite of research software that you as a book author can utilize to help discover new niches and new genres, new keywords for your books. How well and easy it will be for you to rank inside of the search results of Amazon for these books, as well as tracking book results, seeing new reviews come in, and most importantly, and what I think the biggest feature, and a feature that literally no other piece of software has for books, and that is Traffic Spy, and that's the ability to look and see where your competitors, where your top competitors are actually getting their traffic from. And this is incredibly cool. I've actually already discovered, I think, probably about 7 resources that I had no clue existed that I can leverage in one of 2 ways. And we'll talk about that here in a moment, but I just want to walk you through this process. So let's look at this. This is the step-by-step process that you could do this, and then there's several other ways that you can do it too. We won't cover those. As the software progresses, more avenues of using it will open up. But we're just going to go through the basic standard process. And what we're going to do is we're going to find several bits of keywords. And right now we're on the idea generation part. This is where you can generate ideas for your book. This comes from both Google and from Amazon. It scrapes both of those, and it's an interesting way of doing it. So I'm going to type in dystopian. Say I like writing dystopian stuff. I'm going to type in dystopian, and I'm going to type in a wildcard. And the wildcard for this, and I might change it, but the wildcard currently is a $. And what this does is this uses a semantic replacement, meaning that what it does is it actually replaces this $, with either a standard word library that kind of matches the word you typed in, or the alphabet. Okay, just plain out replaces it. And then what it does, it types all of this stuff in for you manually into Google, and not manually, automatically into Google, into Amazon, and then it generates tons of keywords. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'm going to hit fetch ideas, and as you can see, this stuff grays out as it's fetching, it's working, and soon in just a moment you will see a box pop up right here with a ton of keywords. Oh, there it is. So as you can see, we have tons, and this thing can generate up to 800 or more keywords. So this is tons and tons and tons of possible ideas. So we're going to pick a couple. All you do is click on it, and it adds it to the ideas to keep. I'm looking for just a few here to go through this process. So we're looking for dystopian. We're going to be looking for dystopian. Let's look at for, let's see. I'm just kind of going through this process right now and looking. Oh, there's a lot of romance. Let's look at dystopian romance. And then every time you add it, it does start back at the top. Yeah, I can get that fixed. It's not really a bug. It's just more of something that I haven't done yet. As I said, this is still, still in development. Dystopian horror. Let's try that. Okay, so once we're done, what we're going to do is we're going to research these ideas, and we're going to get traffic and estimates on the value of how valuable these niches might be. Now, this currently pulls it from Bing. As you guys might have heard, Google is out because Google no longer provides any sort of relevant search volume. They just give you a range of like 10 to 100,000, and you're just supposed to be happy with that, okay? In order to get the actual traffic results that you need, you have to pay. And that sucks. So we're going to go ahead and hit research ideas, and it's going to start working. You'll see a little thing pop up, and then you'll see it disappear. Don't worry about it. It's just internal stuff that's going on. As I said, this is still a development build. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while it does the work, and in just a moment, we'll be right back. Oh, wait, I didn't even have to pause. Okay, so there we go. So what it did, it went out to Bing, and it went and searched all of this stuff, okay? And let me just quickly go over what this stuff means. So this is your traffic volume. 8,480 people a month generally search for this. Now this is Bing. So, I mean, generally you want Yahoo, or excuse me, you want Amazon. Unfortunately, Amazon does not publish those results, but we're going to look more about this later. This is just to give you a general idea of what the market looks like. Now for fiction books, you're not going to get a whole lot of search traffic for fiction books because people are going to Amazon and they're searching for dystopian horror and romance there. They're not going to be searching for it on a general search engine like Bing or Google. But still, this gives you an over idea. Estimated value per visit. This is how much a single click would be worth to you, how much money each click would give you, estimated. And then that's high, average, and low. So if you capture all of the traffic in Bing or in Google, if for this keyword, you would make roughly $233, $116, and $77 a month. Now, as I said, this is wildly low for fiction, and that's only because if you type in dystopian or dystopia in Amazon, that traffic volume is going to be in the millions, okay? So do keep that in mind. The keyword analysis is a little more useful currently for nonfiction books, but it works well for fiction books, and just giving you a general idea of maybe keywords you might want to target for your campaigns. But the big important thing, though, isn't necessarily this. The big important thing comes right here, when we start off with competition analysis, eventually to the book traffic and the traffic spy. So let's analyze the front page competition for all three of these. Now, because we've added these to the project, we can actually go through, and this will pull the top page data from Amazon. It'll look at how difficult it would be for you to rank. Is it easy? Is it difficult? Is it medium? That's what this does. So we're going to go ahead and click this, and it's going to go, and that's what it's doing right now. It's going out and it's fetching the data. And as you can see, it just popped up. There was only 3 keywords, so it didn't take it that long. Dystopia or dystopian, what it did is it actually got rid of the N because the software is smart. I've been working a lot on the internal stuff about it. So, but dystopia is basically says it's impossible because it's so overwhelmed with the amount of books and high-rated books. But not only that, see, one of the things this software does internally, and because this is the dev version, I don't have this implemented yet, is you can say you can click on each keyword to get a full summary. If I were to double-click on this and it were to be finished, what would happen is to pop up, and a nice little screen would pop up, and little things would say, this book, it would list the 10 or 20 books on the page, and it says, this book has this keyword listed in the title, it's in this position, it's in this position in the description, it has this many reviews, it has this much star rating. That's what it would say. And it would tell you, because the average are 4 or 5 or more have all of these on top or inside of Amazon. If you look in Amazon, it has like 5 or 6 of the results have all of those keywords in it. It's basically saying that not only is there just a crap ton of books for dystopia or dystopian, it's also going to be impossible to rank because almost all of these books have done their on-page Kindle SEO. They've done it extremely well. Okay, and this gives you an average book rating. There's going to be more categories that we're adding a little bit later on. Now, book tracking we don't have implemented yet. It's something that's in the process now. It's going to be really awesome whenever it does. It's going to track whenever you get new reviews in, when your competition gets new reviews, when they make changes to their cover, when they make changes to their title. When they do that, you can go in and see a report will pop up and it'll say, hey, we've got a new report. Some competition that you're tracking has made some changes. You should go look at it. And then what you can do is you can run the traffic spy. This is the really cool part. Once you track the competition or once you analyze the competition, once you do one of these things and you want to go, you could go look and see if your competition has been doing anything outside of Amazon. This is the really cool part, and I'm super excited to show you guys. So what this does is this goes out and it looks for the book, and it looks and sees if it's getting traffic from these sources. And it does that through a number of internal factors. We have a number of internal factors that we judge, and it also does it through some of these filtering options. So the first filtering option for Facebook, the search is Facebook, and we can set a minimum page size. This is the amount of people that like or are members of the group or the page. Anything under a certain amount, you're not going to get much traffic from. It's not really worth looking at. And then you can ignore non-main posts. So basically people that go in and post and they get put on the sidebar, you can ignore those. These are places that have actively promoted the book, that have someone either has paid for a promotion or they've promoted it automatically because they thought it was a great book. Ignore personal accounts. This obviously will ignore any personal accounts so you don't have those popping up, hey, I love this book. That way you don't see that. And then for Google and for SEO, for other things, you can ignore non-unique domains. This is basically, we don't want a WordPress domain or a Tumblr domain or anything like that. And most of the time you're going to want to check that. Check against promo database. Basically, this will eliminate duplicates is what this is saying. We have an internal database of sites that are promoting, and we're adding to them all the time. And so basically it's saying, hey, if we find a site that this is promoted, we're going to check it against our internal database to make sure that we're not running duplicates. Now, I'm going to check restrict results because, unfortunately, this part is a bit buggy, and I'm a bit worried that it's not going to work properly. So restricting your results restricts it to the first 10 results. But anyway, so what this does, let me talk about what this does for just a minute. As soon as I hit run, this is going to go through every book on every keyword, and it's going to search throughout the internet looking for where these books are getting traffic. It is then going to return to you the locations of where these books are getting traffic. And here's the fun part, guys. I have already, just in the week that this dev version has been implemented, I have found seven super hot resources that I can go and leverage for book traffic. All right. These are places that I had no idea even existed. I went and double checked. I went to the K boards and I found people, a few authors who are using these, and they posted their case studies. And I'm sitting here going, you got to be kidding me. Nobody knows of these locations, and I'm discovering them. And that's just with a few test runs that we're doing. I gave this dev version out to a client, and I'm like, dude, you've got to check this out. You've got to try this. Look at all I'm finding. And he went and he found an erotica place to promote his books that has 80,000 members. And all you have to do is contact the owner and work out a book promotion, and they will promote your book. And it's so much cheaper than, say, BookBub. All right, so this is the cool thing. So what we're going to do is when you hit run, it's going to go out and it's going to fetch. And you're going to see here in just a moment. It doesn't take very long because I've restricted the results. But as you can see, it went through the first 10. It found the first 10 and then it stopped, and it would have gone on. But as you can see, it finds Facebook groups, it finds outside websites, it finds all sorts of awesome places. Now, so far, you can't do much with this other than copying the URL. Eventually, you'll be able to interact with this a little more. You'll be able to get more details about that sort of stuff. But let me go copy and paste this into a browser. And this is one of the resources that I actually found. Now, this one doesn't have a ton of people in it, but they're doing, it's not necessarily the Facebook group that's doing all sorts of stuff. It's their website. They have a full-blown, it's a full-blown promotional service that I didn't even know existed, and it has to do with the blog tours and some other related stuff. But as you can see, they're posting some cool stuff. You can go to their website. So if you click on their website right there, as you can see, they have all sorts of stuff that they do. Yeah, so it's really, really, really cool. The software found that. It also found, as I said, an erotica resource that I didn't know existed. One guy on the K-boards used it, got, I think, like 200 sales. My guy that went and used it, found it through the software. He went and used it. He got over 100 sales, and you can actually see it down below. Somebody he sent me an email, and I screenshotted it because I'm like, dude, that's freaking awesome, and I got to put it on the page to show you guys. So anyway, that's what this does, and this is just the basic version. We're going to be adding so much more to it. We're going to be adding, looking for opportunities beyond Kindle and Amazon. So for example, iBookstore, how does it compare to the iBookstore? How does it compare to Nook? How does it compare to some of these other book places where you can put your books? Maybe there's opportunities there. It's going to show you that, all right? So that means what it is, it's going to plug into Competition Content Assassin. I'm working with Amy on that, and I'm actually the programmer for that. And so we're going to be integrating a books-only version into this, a module for that. It's as I said, it's going to do your book tracking. It does the competition analysis. It does this traffic spy, the keyword analysis. We've got tons of features planned. Okay, so if you can scroll down, you can see all of the features planned, all of the things it's going to be doing. The big thing, though, that we're aiming for in November is having this just completely run in silent on the background. You're going to load in a project file. You're going to tell it your book. It's going to grab your categories. It's going to track your category changes. It's going to track the categories you're in and the book changes that happen in the top 20, the top 10, the top 20. It's going to then do all of this, the traffic spy, the competition analysis. It's going to ask those questions and give you a report, and you're going to find opportunities to promote your book. You're going to find opportunities where the hidden opportunities lie to put keywords into your book, into your title, into your description, so that you rank higher and you get more traffic. And just one more key thing I want to talk about with these Facebook groups before we log off here is that it found all these Facebook groups. You can do two things with these Facebook groups. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, I'm going to copy this, Control-C, and I'm going to paste this in here. You can actually target all of the users of this site with ads. Okay, inside your ads platform, you can actually go into Facebook and you can say, I want to target users of this site. Say you have a book that's really popular and you discover one of these niche resources, the one that's all about, say, dystopia. So you find a resource like that, or all about erotica. You can actually target the people who like that page, and you can get really, really cheap. Only spend a couple bucks a day and you can get really cheap traffic to your book because it lines up with the market, that market's expectations. Or you can do the other thing where you can contact the owner of the site or the owner of the Facebook group and you say, hey, how much do you charge to promote my book? How much do you charge to review my book? I can eventually do work this where you do book reviews. There's tons. I've been finding tons doing these testing, tons of book reviews, people who do book reviews. And eventually I'd like to add a module that actually searches Facebook for reviewers of your book. So searches your competition and finds reviewers in Facebook. So that's the path that we're kind of on. As you can tell, I'm super excited about it. I've already gotten a lot of use out of it, even though this is still in development version. I want you guys to grab it today. And speaking of that, it's $97. The next couple days are the only days it is going to be available for $97. That's it. It will not be available for anything. It will not be available at that price ever again. Okay. The next couple of promotions that's going to happen for it, it's going to be $197. After that, we're cutting things off until we do our launch at $297. All right. So because we're adding so much, because eventually it's going to be monitoring things 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and providing you with endless reports. All right. Because it's going to be doing that, we're going to charge a pretty penny for it because that's what it's worth. All right, that is simply what it's worth. And so you get an opportunity as people who are subscribers and previous buyers to get in at this super low price. And then that's it. Okay, so I encourage you to scroll down and hit buy right now before the opportunity ends. All right, so again, grab it now. Now, the version you're going to be getting, once you do that, you're going to be getting the public version, which is the keyword generation, and you're going to get the keyword analysis. All right. The competition analysis, book tracking, and traffic spy, unfortunately, will all be turned off because it's still in development, and I'm not comfortable yet with you guys going out and breaking it and shutting it down. I'm afraid it'll give too much frustrations. So instead, what we're going to do is in a couple weeks, I'll be releasing it to you when I feel it's a lot more ready. So you'll get to see that here soon, real soon. As you can see, it's almost ready. It's getting close. We will be there. But right now, you will have access to the book idea generation, and you will have access to the keyword analysis. And people have already had success. You can see some of those stories down below. So thanks, guys, for watching. I appreciate it. Go pick it up and go grab it now, and I'll see you inside.
And so what I would like to do is I'd like to get some more people willing to test so that whenever we have these little bugs, then things that pop up, like for example tonight, you guys can shoot it over to me and let me know. But the thing is, though, is the software, except for tonight, because I've got to do an update, and that update will be pushed out tonight, and it'll be fixed, and it'll be fixed tomorrow morning for everyone who is currently a member. They're going to go ahead and, I'll get it, and it's still working. And so these features, the book idea generation, the keyword analysis, both are available and ready to be used. And the dev version, the rest of them are going to be released in the next couple weeks, and that's what we're going to kind of talk about. So swap this back over. Again, I loaned him a dev version. I said, hey, why don't you go check this out? I didn't even know he was going to find this. He went and found that resource. Another author, actually just the other day, like I think 2 days ago, he used it. He got a #1 rank for his sales, got #1 in for his keyword placement, and he got sales for his keyword. He emailed me. I don't even have the email screenshot. I would put it on here, but he was super excited about it. So I want you guys to join us, and I know that was a bit embarrassing, right? I mean, this shows you with live how things go. You know, you're probably going, oh my God, this software is not ready for the prime time. Well, no, it's not. It's not ready for the prime time. Well, I'm not selling it to the prime time. I just did a little promotion with my list. That is done and over with. I'm now doing a little thing here with Amy, and I'm probably going to do one other thing with one other affiliate just so I can get some more people into our very limited beta testing. The features, some of the features are nearly complete. We're still working on them. I just need your help to test. And if you decide to join now, what I'll do is I'll give you early access, the public versions with the dev versions coming shortly afterwards. I'm also going to give you access to specialized training, how to use the software to get the best possible results. And I'm going to do something else. Normally at the launch price, I'm going to do this for $297 because it is so valuable, because everything it'll do running 24/7 in the background with you're constantly analyzing your books and your keywords and your categories and providing you with things that no other keyword software does. It's going to do. And it's going to be $10 a month for updates, but that's the launch price. And I'm not going to do that for you guys. I'm going to save you, put $100 off, and no monthly fee, so it's a one-time only. You can go and grab it if you want to try it. I'm offering a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get it from amyharrop.com/KinSM. And yeah, that's it. So if we have questions, we can answer those. I know I flew through all of this. I was trying to get through this underneath an hour, and I just had so much I wanted to share with you guys. So if you've got questions about the software, if you've got questions about the process, if you've got questions about anything, let me know. And Amy and I will endeavor to, and we will try to answer them for you guys.
Well, Rob, it would be great if you could just explain a little bit more about how tracking where books are getting traffic from, how that can help you sell more of your books, because that's such a unique, cool tool, and I've never seen that before. And I actually have seen this before. I've seen this before with SEO. I mean, Rob has talked a lot about SEO, and people who make a lot of money, like doing, buying ads online, they are tracking their competitors. So what we're doing is we're taking something that's already successful and we're bringing it over to publishing, which is tracking your competitors. So yeah, I just think this is such a cool thing. So if you could just explain a bit more.
Right. Okay. So what are you wanting to know, like how it works in the background, or to how you can you leverage it to get sales? Like, would you like
yeah, like how you leverage it. Like if I had a dystopian book and I saw this information, like what would I do with this now?
Okay, well, for example, for this first one, like right here, I can copy this over. This book is just a Facebook group, and it's got, I think, about 7,000 members. Because I just pulled it up over here. It's what you could do. You could do this one in two ways. You'll find Facebook. You'll find websites. You can, I've been dropping all sorts of hints tonight. If you find a Facebook group that you don't necessarily want to pay money to, but they're getting traffic to. So for example, especially with Facebook groups that are like really targeted, like for example, this erotica book that I was just talking about earlier, one thing he could do is he could actually turn around and he could set up a Facebook ad campaign where he targets people from that book or from that site, this promotional, where he's getting traffic from. So those 80,000 people that like the page, he could say, I want to show my ad to these 80,000 people who liked that erotica resource. I want to target those people specifically because, and why does this work? And it works extremely well. Why does it work so well? Because you already know that these people like the type of books that are being sold because it was posted and promoted there. Because it was posted and promoted there, they're running a successful promotional service, right? They're actually being paid by authors to post ads, and guess what? Authors wouldn't be paying money to post ads there if they weren't getting traffic and sales. So these are not just a group of browsers, these are a group of buyers. So you can actually be sneaky and you can ninja your way in and advertise to that group of people. Or you can do the other thing, which is the more direct route, and you can contact the Facebook group owner, and you could say, hey, I'd like to set up an ad with you. And they'd say, hey, that's great. We got these spots open, and you pay them money, and you do the more traditional route. So you could do either the ninja way, you could do the direct way, or you could do both, right? And then they get exposed to your book twice. They see it in the Facebook ads. They see it because Amazon's running, because Amazon does do this. Amazon's running the content retargeting. That's where they follow you around the internet, that sort of thing. Amazon does run those occasionally. You could set one up yourself too, potentially, if you have your own website. There's ways you can do that. But so there's all sorts of ways that you can go about doing this. But the most direct way is setting up a Facebook ad, targeting that specific group, or contacting that group owner and saying, hey, I see you promoted these type of books. Would you be willing to promote my book for, whatever you're charging? So those are the most direct ways of doing it. And I found that authors that are sneaky can make a lot of money doing this because, as I said, you're looking at your competition, your successful competition, and you're finding locations of where they're going to get their traffic. Locations that, for example, I didn't know about. I didn't know about this promotional book place. I know you guys might have already, but I didn't know about it. The erotica resource, I had no clue. All right, I had no clue it existed, and several of people that I've talked to didn't, and they're all off now trying to promote their erotica books, either like what I just said with the ninja way or the direct way. And as I said, there's been people that have been successful with it. So those are the two ways of doing it. There's websites and blogs that'll come up. Book reviews. Eventually I'm going to have this where you can find reviewers for editorial reviews or for Amazon reviews where it'll show up here, because what does it do? Well, a lot of these personal accounts are scraped they'll pop up here. If you uncheck ignore personal accounts, and I would, but it's not going to return anything because it's restricting results right now. But it would show you like, 24 people who are reviewing books, and you can go contact them and say, hey, I see you really loved my competitor's books. I think you would like, well, you wouldn't say my competitor. You'd say, I can see where you really loved XYZ. You will love ABC, my book, too. So would you mind giving it a review? I see that you reviewed it. So those are all sorts of ways that you can leverage this.
Okay, and I know you're having some training, and I will say with Facebook, it's very easy to go into Facebook Audience Insights, which is free with your Facebook advertising account, which is free, and you can basically target people who like a certain page or that type of thing. If the page has enough traffic, you can often bring the page up, and then you can sort of build an audience, and then you can advertise directly to those people. So maybe that will be a future training in this, but you know, like Rob said, he's going to be including trainings with this, so showing you how to do some of this stuff.
Yeah, so exactly. We're going to be a big chunk of this, all of this, and this will be for everybody. Will be the training. I'll show you guys how to leverage this sort of stuff, like how to leverage it for your Kindle related SEO, how to leverage it for your traffic, and strategies that go into this. So this isn't just software. It's a full package deal. So and that's going to start next week. So we're starting that next week. So I would love to have you guys on board. All right. So what's questions we have?
Well, John asks, can you revive a dead book without changing the title, just the keywords, etc.?
No, you're going to have to change the title ideally, and you're going to have to change the description. You're going to have to make changes. Probably have to change the cover, maybe. I mean, the thing is that this isn't like, there isn't like just go in and make a few changes to the keyword box. I mean, that keyword box that Amazon provides you guys, yeah, it's garbage. Like, I mean, really, it's not. I mean, it's not that it doesn't do anything, but really, it's like maybe 0.3% of your total campaign. Again, it's a 80-20 rule, right? 20% of everything you do is going to affect 80%, the 80%, and vice versa. Right, and the keyword box is one of those 80% things where it's only going to maybe get you a 20% increase. Really, what you need to focus on is your keywords in your title and in your description and in your book.
Okay, that's good advice. And I will say that Amazon is probably not ever going to give this that information, because they do not want people trying to game their system or to, what is reverse engineer it. They just don't. They've never allowed that. I've been on Amazon.
Right, they haven't. And it's not even really the authors they're worried about. What they're worried about is retail competitors reverse engineering their traffic, their systems, their sales. That's why they hide all of that data and why they just don't make it. Because it would take nothing for a retailer to create a Kindle account and get in and start getting their traffic data. And you just don't want that.
So I do want to say that this is also Windows only. So if you can run it on Mac Parallel, but it is Windows only if you do have a Mac and you're interested in this. And the main reason for that is because Rob is a programmer and he programs in the Windows language. And if he were to bring out a Mac version later, which he might at some point, he would have to completely rebuild it from the ground up. Sometimes I get questions about software like, oh, why isn't this in the Mac? And the fact is, unless you kind of started at the beginning with the right the programming language that would work with both, it's a lot of times difficult to then go back later and get a Mac version. It's not easy. It's not like you push a button and then you get a Mac and a PC version. So
yeah, their development environments are completely different. The native code is C# in Windows. The native code is Objective-C in Mac, and they are completely incompatible with each other. Now, there's people trying to come up with solutions, and there have been, but it's an 80-20 thing. Now, if there's an overwhelming amount of Mac people that are like, I really, 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 really want this, I could feel justified in saying, well, okay, it's going to be worth it for me to do. And we might get there. And I'm not necessarily opposed to a Mac idea. It's just I would have to hire somebody. I would have to hire someone to port it out. And that's not cheap. And especially with what I'm doing. Like what I'm doing, it's a lot of code. And this is something that I'm going to be working on for a while. And then sort of port it over. I mean, it's going to be a big job to do. So yeah, I mean, you just kind of have to go with what you learn. And so that's the way it is.
And Deborah asks, is it download or in the cloud? It is a download.
So it is. And there is one reason we did that. I mean, we could have made it. I could, put an ASP, whatever, web page, make it cloud-based. I could have. But the big thing is I'd have to pass on more costs, because in order to do that, I would need to get proxies, and I'd need to get all sorts of this fancy tech stuff that I don't really think you guys care a whole lot about. But let me just say that in order to get a proxy server and proxies and constantly be switching all of that data out, because this is web scraping, in order to do that, I would have to raise my costs. $10 a month, which is what I want to launch at, would need to be like $30 a month in order for me to justify it. And so, like, I'm trying to keep my ultimate costs down by doing that, and that's why I don't do it. And so it's for you guys to run it on the desktop. That makes it extremely easy and lowers my cost, because now it's your computer and your IP that's accessing it, and that you're not going to do near as much as information pools is if I did it with like 1,000 people. Okay, so that's why I've done it that way, is to lower your costs. And I do want to say on that note, if you have problems, because this is not like, a cheapy $17 product, $17 like thing, okay, I do have a dedicated support staff. And the support staff is basically up 24/7, and I tell him to go to bed, but he never listens. So you will get a response. Usually you get a response quickly, very, 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 very quickly, and it has both a support desk and an email. And I mean, he will even get on TeamSpeak and or like Skype with you guys and like troubleshoot. Like if you can't get it to install, he'll be like, oh, you've got a problem with your computer. I mean, this is how dedicated level of support it is. Okay, so my support staff is in place and can handle it. So if you have problems, if you have any sort of issues with anything, let us know.
Maybe you could go over just again sort of what's available right now and what you have coming and when.
Yeah, okay, well, that's a good idea. And also, I'm glad that you mentioned that, Amy, because now that you said that, if you guys want to see a full demo where it actually works before Bing went and changed stuff, when you go this will redirect. If you go to this website, it'll redirect to here, and you can actually watch a full demo. It's like 15 minutes long. It's basically what I showed you, but it's actually working step by step, and I explain everything a little bit. But what you're going to get, this is the development map right here. So we have this. Okay, that's available. That's available. Well, once I get it fixed, which will be tomorrow. What we're currently working on is a back-end code engine overhaul. Don't really need to know about that. Just know it'll be quicker, faster, more efficient. And I want to do that before I get really heavy into some of these things. So phase 2, Amazon SEO analysis for keywords. Can you rank? So that competition analysis, showing you how difficult it is, giving you the rough idea of all of the, like, and then when you pull up the screen, it'll show you, like, here's the 10 top books. Each book has, it has the keyword in the title in this location, this location, this location, blah, 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 blah. Here's what we think for each one. So you'll get specifics, and that's what we're going to be working on, hopefully be able to be out next week. Book change, competition tracking tracks on-page changes to your book. So that book tracking, it's going to do a lot of things. It's not only going to track your competition. Like, for example, when your categories, like something changes happen in your categories. I actually already have this. If it up here, I have a little window showing you what will pop up. When a new book is entered into your categories, currently ranked 8, we also discovered it is getting traffic from outside of Amazon. That'll pop up and let you know. And so that's what we're talking about here. It'll also track on-page changes to your book when you enter in your book. So, for example, if you get a new review in, it'll pop up and say, Director, you have a new report, or you have a new review for your book, blah, 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 blah. Then you can go check it and answer it or respond to it if you feel like you need. It'll also track changes. And, you might not think this is a big deal. Okay, tracking changes to your cover, to your title, to your description. It'll track, and it'll say a change was made to your page on this date. And you might think, well, why is that a big deal? Well, it's a big deal because, as I said, I'm always stressing data. What happens if you make a change and your sales drop or your sales explode? Hey, you can look and see, maybe you made a change. What was that change? What was it changed from? It'll keep track of all of that. So that data, again, is important, and it'll also track changes to, if you track individually to your competitors that you choose, it'll track their changes on page. So you can see if they're testing covers. They're like, oh, they're testing covers. There's the cover that they did have. There's the new cover that they had. Well, that's awesome. Oh, but not only did they get a new cover, I just ran this. They're out. They've also now been promoted by these 3 other sites. These guys are launching into a big campaign. Maybe I can duplicate. Maybe I can ride their marketing wave. I'm starting to see these guys do all this marketing stuff. Maybe I can start targeting the same thing and ride their wave. There's a thing called launch jacking, and it's something I've taught for a long time. I haven't really talked about it in years, but it's called launch jacking. It's where you ride the wave of someone else's marketing. And this is something that you can do and you should do with your competition, especially your competition that has like millions of dollars of marketing budget. New Harry Potter book comes out. You can definitely run the tool with them, and you can see, obviously, they're getting national attention on TV and stuff like that. It can't find, but it can actually look and see where they're being promoted around the internet, and you can start targeting those resources, and you can start riding the wave. Enjoy the new Harry Potter book? Well, guess what? You'll love XYZ, which happens to be my book. And that's called launch jacking, and there's an entire thing about it, which we will talk about inside in one of our training courses. The traffic spy module, the Facebook module. Right now I have several modules in active development, but the Facebook will definitely be first because Facebook makes it really easy for me to track and filter and do all of that stuff. So that will be available earlier rather than later. And then finally, the book sites, we're going to have a database of like 100 book sites in there that will automatically go and check. And then the Internet Spy module, this is where I was talking about where I'm actually working on a special algorithm that I'll probably end up patenting, where it actually analyzes and does traffic analysis. And there's a lot of technical stuff to it and uses lots of different resources, including checking backlinks and various other sites. And it scrapes and it compares and does all of this math in the background. But it'll find where sites are sending traffic from, and that's going to be sometime in October. And then eventually in November, I'll launch the full-blown 24-hour campaign monitoring where it will be 24 hours in the background. Okay, so like it's constantly running. It's constantly doing these things, okay? And something that I talked to Amy about, we're eventually going to be integrating a light version of Competition Content Assassin. That will be for an small upgrade price. We don't know all of the details yet, but those of you guys who own that know how valuable it is. Well, I wanted to include it as a potential module in here. So that will be available as an add-on a little bit later on. But anyway, so yeah, so that's kind of what is going to be going on. And then, of course, as I said, you guys will get the training as well, and you won't have to pay the $10 a month because there's only going to be a few of you joining. I know there's not going to be loads. That's fine. I'm not wanting loads. I'm just wanting a few of you to take advantage of this early on and to help me out by beta testing, you throwing your books through it, putting it through the ringer and saying, hey, these are this bug, and I can be like, great, get it fixed. Because I'm wanting to do an awesome launch where this will help a ton of people, and that's what I'm wanting to do, and that's going to be a few months down the road, but I want to get people in now so that we can work on this. So kind of joining the team. The other great thing is I'm going to be working closely with you guys, and so if you're like, hey, I got this awesome idea you haven't thought of, I'm like, hey, that's great. We'll work it in. So assuming that it's possible, of course.
Very cool. So the thing is when you're coming on now, some of the stuff is already available. A lot of it is actually, and then in the next couple of weeks or so, we're going to see more of it. And so by the end of September, most of it's going to be available. And then, before the end of the year, it'll all be there. But you won't have to pay anything extra because you've come on early and you'll just get all the updates. And then you don't have to pay the full launch price. And I think this is great because there is different software out there, but a lot of it's sort of patchworky, and it doesn't, like I said, I've never seen anything that does the spy. I've never seen anything that does the Bing. And as Rob said, a lot of the software that's been out there, a lot of it is based on Google, and they're basically going to be, excuse my words, but they're going to be screwed now because Google does not provide you with any real information anymore unless you're actually running campaigns through them.
Right.
So,
right. Yep.
So you can actually get real information with this. The Kin SEO or book SEO, I think that's going to be the updated title here, and
right. Mm-hmm.
You're going to be head and shoulders above all these other authors, pretty much everybody. The majority of people who are trying to publish who aren't doing anything, you're going to be head and shoulders above them and far in advance of them, and B, you're going to be ahead of the people who are using more outdated software and tools that aren't working anymore because of these changes with Google. And the fact is if you really, you want to make money with publishing, you do have to be strategic. I've been talking about this for a long time now. I've been talking about the fact that there is a lot of publishing money to be made, but you can't necessarily be doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. You really have to be strategic about it. And this is a very good way to be strategic, and that is by getting the data. And that's what people who are wanting to make money with things online do. They're being strategic. We talked a little bit about the SEO thing, and this is exactly what this is. It's getting the data, it's getting the research, so your book will be noticed in that massive amounts of competition, and being able to take it to multiple marketplaces, not just Amazon, which is the biggest, but also multiple marketplaces armed with this type of data, and you're going to be able to get a lot more results a lot faster. I mean, Rob and I both hate hearing from authors and publishers where, people have spent a really long time working on books, and then they put it out there and nothing happens because they didn't position the book properly, they didn't title it properly, they didn't do the research, they have a really poor description, and they then, what they'll often do after they get their book out there and nothing's happened, instead of actually fixing some of this stuff, which you can do much easier with this type of research, they'll start throwing money in advertising. They'll start throwing hundreds of dollars in advertising and marketing, and then still nothing is still happening because, again, they haven't positioned their book properly. They're not getting their book in front of the right people. By doing the keyword research, by going and spying on where books that are successful in their niche are already getting traffic. And that's unfortunate because that's a lot of people. The good news is, though, smart publishers and authors can easily navigate around those roadblocks with the right knowledge and the right tools and be able to get better results, as Rob has showed you in his case studies, his case study examples there.
Yep.
So so I'm just kind of looking through here. I'm not really seeing any more questions, so if you guys have any more questions, get them in the box here. If not, we'll be closing this out in the next couple minutes, and hope to have a replay available probably tomorrow. But this is available for a limited time. It's just through Monday, through the weekend, and then that's it. Thanks, Deb. Deb says that she's in. We're excited to see you inside there. Very cool.
Excellent. Glad you're with us, Deb. We will, we'll be closing it up on Monday night. And as I said, there's not going to be, you guys aren't going to hear about this over and over and over again, where you normally hear people going on the webinar circuit. I'm not on the webinar circuit. This is hey, Amy, I need some more beta testers. I've got 8. I need maybe 20. So could you give me a hand? I mean, that's really kind of what it was. And she's like, sure. So, I mean, it's her and maybe one other person, and that'll be it. So this is, and then you won't hear from again until a couple months. Then you're going to hear it from everybody. And at that point, it'll be $297 and it'll be $10 a month. So you want to get in now if you can, and I'm going to reward you for getting in now for taking a bit of gamble. Listen to me, I'm being honest. That was a botched demo, right? I'm sitting here wanting to sell this thing. If I was really sitting here wanting to sell it hard, I just totally botched it, right? Because Bing just updated and it threw up an exception and it didn't run. So I mean, we're in this phase right now where we are, and that's just the way it is. And so I'm not sitting here trying to polish it and make it look all pretty. It's not. So I'm rewarding you guys with your faith, and by giving you a big discount, and even saying, hey, you know what, 30-day money-back guarantee. If for some odd reason I can't get it to work, meaning I can't get it on thing, if you feel like I'm not on schedule and you're frustrated, that's fine, that's okay. We'll just give you your money back. It's no big deal. Just as a way of saying, hey, thanks for giving us a try. I did appreciate the help. So there's no real risk. You guys know me, and Amy. All you guys know Amy. Amy's not going to let you guys falter, and you won't let me falter. She'll be on me, trust me. And I ain't going anywhere. So I'm excited though, because, and one of the reasons I'm excited, because I'm excited to use this for my internally. We use we use the software internally right now for the killer book promotions. I'm using it to help authors fix the problems in their books. and I'm going to be using it even more. And so this is actually, that's how it started. It actually started as a thing where I'm just like, hey, we need some software that's better than all this other software, because all of this other software, as Amy said, is all I've got to patch together like 4 different pieces of software to get everything done the way this works. And so I'm just like, well, forget it. I'm just going to code it up myself. And so that's what I did. And so that's kind of where it went. And then we're like, hey, you know what? This will be really valuable for other authors. I just need to clean it up and make it shiny so it runs better. And that's what we're working on. So, yeah.
Yeah, and just a few things with this. I mean, what's going on is Rob is already successfully helping authors be better. And so he's taking the data that he's already using and he's actually automating it. So it's not like he just sort of thought up the stuff. He's actually running data and getting results, and he's automating it, and he's sharing the automation with you guys. The other thing is, Rob is the developer and programmer for Content Competition Assassin and Passive Publishing System, and he has done numerous updates on both of those since they've been out.
Yep.
And everything. So, Rob is around, Rob is updating, and I wouldn't have Rob come on today if I knew that he wasn't going to do, if I didn't think he wasn't going to do this. But he has been updating those softwares, and he's also been, becoming very fast at doing updates and turning things around. And like he said, this update he's going to have is for tomorrow. It's going to be ready tomorrow for that Bing update. So there's no worries there with him updating everything, especially now that he is on. Has this full staff. Elizabeth says, I like the looks of this tool, learned some things, we'll buy. Rob, I'm working on okay, another question. Sorry, I was just kind of reading through here. Thanks, we'll buy this tool. Thanks, Elizabeth, that's great. Rob says, I'm working on a journal type book now.
Excellent.
That's very cool. How many weeks are you out on Killer Book Promotion? I think you have to talk to Rob's staff because they keep that, Deborah, like a running list of people available. So, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, we're still working through the backlog as far as Killer Book Promotions go. Yeah, we've got a backlog. We're actually through the first backlog. Oh, thank God. And we're working through the second one. We've got tons of accounts still coming online, and so it's getting faster and faster every single week. We move through more. So you can, Deborah. I see who this is. See if I got the full name on here. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I think I recognize you. If you hit me up, fattraffic@gmail.com. Well, that's not me. That's my Killer Book Promotions team. They'll be able to let you know where you're on the list and give you an estimate time. And I say estimate because the thing is that as we get more accounts online and as certain people drop and other people it's probably going to be quicker. That's usually the way it goes. More accounts come online, it gets quicker. So. But yes, as Amy said, contact my staff, fattraffic@gmail.com, and they will be more than happy to help you out.
Great. Well, all right, everybody, unless we have some other questions, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank you for joining me. And I will say, even if you don't get the software, which I think you should, it's so cool what it does and how it automates stuff, please go back and watch the replay and take note of Rob's do's and don'ts for keywords. And apply those, go through to your book if it's already published or is going to be published, and make sure you do, your research and you're positioning your keywords, you're putting them at the beginning of your title, and you're looking at estimated traffic and, sort of getting an idea of that and everything. So you can take that away and work with that pretty much right away, which would be great because I know that's going to help you.
Yep, it definitely will. I mean, if as I said, if people take away one thing, it's that keyword stuff, because it can make a huge difference in your books.
Definitely. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks again. You guys have a great weekend, and keep an eye out for me tomorrow with the replay. Take care.
All right. Bye.